Okay, I have Ben with me, and we're going to discuss how to set this data receiving on the DC-80 T-W indoor master secondary system for Bobcat and their production line TAKT timers. And as I explained earlier in the last video, that it has a network connection and it's going to output the data that they've required. And I've got Ben here to explain that to us. Without further ado.
Okay, so this network card is being used to send data packets from the timer to a third-party software that Bobcat is responsible for. And we've worked out a protocol that works between us and Bobcat that we send in a data packet every now and then. They're looking for the final times on each run. If they went overtime, they want the final overtime. If they reset the clock before the time advanced to the end, they want to know that the final time in a positive way. So what we have is an Ethernet to serial adapter, or an Ethernet card in the clock, and this is packet sender here, showing on the laptop now. And packet sender represents that third-party software, so it's going to receive the information from the timer. And I'll go through packet sender and show you what key components you need for to program the clock in order to be able to send that packet. Okay, so
I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on the computer to give them a better view of what's going on here.
Yep.
Okay.
So if you can zoom in right here, this is the computer's IP address.
Up top there?
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's in the command line of packet sender. So we know that it's .27, and we have a TCP server running at at colon 56951. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go ahead and clear the log here. So when we go into the clock's web page is very basic. It doesn't really show a whole lot of information on the home page, but it allows us to set the clock up for static IP settings, or DHCP values are shown there. And down here we can do our outgoing TCP settings. So we type in the network port there.
Okay, which is under
which
what?
Is that 56951.
Okay.
Right here in this first field.
Down near the middle, near the lower portion.
Outgoing TCP settings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we want to type in that IP address there. So this is where we're going to send the message to, and on what port we're going to talk to it. And then sometimes this UDP is checked. You want to make sure that's unchecked. Packet Center does do UDP, but UDP is less secure over the network, and a lot of firewalls and networks do not work well with UDP because of the traffic overhead. So using TCP is okay, and you submit that, and then you can go back to Packet Center. Now, we're using Packet Center to represent the Bobcat's third-party software. They have written some code that receives our protocol over the web and populates their server and their database to track this information. Okay. You want to show that?
Sure.
Okay.
So we have 20 seconds set on there, and so
it doesn't show any data. The data is going to show up right here that gets received. So if I am counting down and we've got to the end of our cycle beforehand, when I go to last value, it sends a data packet. It sends. We had 7 seconds remaining on the clock. Okay. So we're going to go the next cycle, and this time we've gone over. We've gone over our time.
To go into overage time, and then it will continuously send once a second, won't it?
Correct.
Which will give you that on that center screen what you have.
Yeah.
Okay. And now
So
it's
now
going
it's
to log
sending
it.
1, 2, 3, and that is because we don't know where it's going to end up at, but we know we're over. We're sending data that we're over, and they know that. And what happens is their program is specialized to automatically go to the set value in it if it's in overtime. So they just have a one cycle operation. So
The program that you've put into the timer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're going ahead and sending the overtime in case they reset it that way.
So all the operator really has to do, if he goes into overtime, he just pushes start, and that's going to reset it.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't go into overtime and they push stop, then they have to manually hit last value.
Right. But what we're after are these final times. That's what we're sending to the customer. That's what we are sending to the customer's third-party software.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Ben. So again, this is Ben and Jim with DC Digital demonstrating Bobcat's production line TAKT timing system. There are two DC-80 T-down-W indoors, wirelessly linked, wirelessly controlled and wired controlled, with two horn settings, one for the warning and one for end of period, and also data out on a network drop that they have, that they're going to receive the data for on their own IP address and whatnot. So again, thanks for watching.